I just wanted to show you guys my latest experiment, and you guys let me know what you think about it. Let me know, if you think it's gonna make it, if it's gonna live, if it's gonna die. Uh, some of my buddies says that this is gonna die, so this latest experiment is an experiment really truly on how much water or waterlogging a mango plant can take, and see if it does well or doesn't do well. My general theory with water, and I've told people this all the time, is that for me, the mangoes love water. Mangoes do really well with water, but it's a matter of having the right soil. You can't be growing that stuff in compost and bark, stuff that just kind of rots and deteriorates and then causes root rot. So definitely for some of you guys that's new to this, check out my soil video in terms of what is the proper soil to be using for mangoes. And let me talk a little bit more about this experiment. So I put this in a half wine barrel, and this went in I think around the end of November, December. We're in March 7th now, so it's been in it for about 3 months. It's gone through the kind of like the worst of winters. I believe we just had a heavy kind of third heavy rainstorm, like lots of rain for us. At least in SoCal, it was like the third latest one. And I think there's going to be another rainstorm coming this week where it's going to be raining for a couple weeks. Okay, so the interesting thing about this is that I am using, for my mix, I'm using just kind of half peat and half perlite. My next experiment, when I'm going to go with this, I'll probably be using a lot more sand, like maybe 50% sand and 50% peat, just because I have this thing in a wheelbarrow. I mean in a half wine barrel, but I have put on wheels on the bottom so I could easily move it. And to me, I think sand is the best one medium. It's just that it's just very heavy, heavy to move around. And hopefully the wheels will make that much more comfortable. I didn't get to do it, just I was kind of lazy. I did not want to go pick up some sand. I didn't have any sandbags around or anything like that, so I had my peat and perlite, and that's what I did. Now the most interesting thing about this is right here I have the drainage hose right here. So it is always sitting in about 1.5 inches, maybe more, of water. Okay. However, I don't expect this to cause any issues, just because I am not growing this in ground up bark, ground up compost, things that will rot the root. So that is my general theory on this. In terms of my own potted plants, even through winter, I water my plants like almost every other day. I don't water if it rained like that day or recently or anything like that, but I water as often as I could. I don't have an issue with root rot. And the other thing about this too is I'm using one of the more sensitive rootstock here. So this is on turpentine rootstock, and if you guys are familiar with the turpentine rootstocks, they do horribly in California. I still don't recommend for people to plant it in ground. I tell people all the time, just kind of keep it in a pot. They're sensitive to cooler weather, that it's not vigorous, and any kind of little bit of compost in the soil tends to cause issue for them. So this is one of the more sensitive rootstock, and it's going to be just sitting in this kind of like 1.5 inches of water the whole time. And it's been 3 months already, so I mean, it's still alive. So it's, to me, I think it's doing well. And if this is a turpentine rootstock that's gonna make it in this kind of environment, it should be something like a Laverne Manila, which is stronger rootstock. You probably get much more faster and more vigorous growth. Okay, so that's the rootstock itself, and kind of here's the plant. And what I see a lot in winter is people kind of show me pictures. Hey, what happened to my mango tree? It's kind of look like it's wilting and dying and stuff like that. And you know, there's times where it's like could be fungal issues. You know, I had a tree myself that just died from fungal issue that kind of got into the trunk of the tree. But lots of times when I see people's tree die, it's usually a turpentine rootstock, which is more sensitive to compost bark, and it's more sensitive to being kind of like on the drier side or the wetter side. Like if you had, like, say, a Laverne, well, now it's Everdirt rootstock, it doesn't really die that easily. It takes some effort to kill one of those rootstock, whether you plant it in compost or anything like that. But when it comes to some of these Florida rootstocks, they're pretty sensitive, and lots of times we're in the middle of winter. It is blooming, so it's a bit stressed out already, and people aren't watering the plants. So people aren't watering the plants because sometimes they get root rot because they're using the wrong soil again. And you got these plants that are blooming and stressed. You got soil that is either too dry, and or it's in compost and bark material where it's too wet and it rots, or it's too dry, it just gets stressed and it dies out. And that's why I tell people all the time to kind of make sure you got the right soil for your mangoes. I mean, it should be in like good in the medium. Like I said, my mix right here is just kind of peat and perlite. But I do recommend, if you guys don't mind the weight, you incorporate much more heavier stuff into your soil. So yeah, let me know. I mean, it's been 3 months. This is still live. I plan to do see how this goes through the rest of this winter and spring. I will probably try a few more mangoes in this type of kind of setup, where it's going to be always sitting in like 1.5 inches to 2 inches of water at the bottom of the pot. So that's the experiment on this. You guys let me know what you think. Some of my buddies are betting that this is going to die. I am hopeful that this will all work out right, but you guys will see the result of whether this makes it through. You'll see the video of it. Whether this dies this coming spring or this year, you'll see the video of that too. Okay, so that's the experiment, and that's potted plants that could be sitting in as much water as you would think it'd be, kind of pretty much waterlogged for that bottom 1.5 inches, 2 inches of the pot, and we'll see if it would thrive or die. Okay, so I'm hoping this confirms my general theory in terms of watering, because I do water very frequently, and we'll see what happens. Maybe I could be wrong and this doesn't make it, but we'll see either way. All right, guys. I'll provide updates on this in the future. Probably not gonna be monthly, just because there's not really much activity. Maybe if there's some fruit set or something, I'll probably provide some updates on it. But if there's not much activity on this, there's probably not gonna be much updates. But I'll try to provide an update on this experiment every other month or so. Okay, so thanks everyone.